Hey everyone, my name is Marshall Mind, and today I'm going to be giving you guys a few updates on EA Sports UFC 2. A little bit more information has been released, as well as an official gameplay trailer, and I'm going to be going over a few of them right now. In this particular video, though, I'm only going to be talking about what has been released when it comes to the striking aspect of the game, because there's still a few things that we're not allowed to talk about when it comes to the clinch, career mode, offline modes, and the ground game. So let's focus on the striking for now, and when we're allowed to talk about a few more things, I'll go over the clinch, ground game, career mode, and all that. So first of all, let's talk about the defense. It has been confirmed by Brian Hayes, the creative director of EA Sports UFC, that this time around we'll be getting the Fight Night styled 360 head movement. Now, this is really, really great. It's a really great addition to the game. One, a lot of people have been asking for it, myself included. And when I played it, I used this a lot. I really, really focused on it, and it was extremely effective. Now, when I say effective, I'm not saying that it was effective to the point that it was overpowered and you could just evade everything without even trying. Nope. If you lean into a strike, the physics-driven damage system takes over. So even though you'll be able to move your head much better this time around, and you can evade strikes a lot better, you can't just get crazy with it. Because if you do, you will definitely get timed with something, and you will get caught with a strike. If you lean into a head kick, good luck. You got to be careful with it. Next, let's talk about the side steps and lunges. In EA Sports UFC 1, all we had was the exaggerated lunge. That you flick the stick and your fighter does this really exaggerated lunge, and that's all we had. Every single time you try to sidestep, it was exaggerated and it was tedious. But this time around, we have more options. Right now, we have a short sidestep and a long sidestep. The short sidestep just quickly takes you off the center. It helps you cut an angle right away and set up a counter. Personally, I think it's brilliant. It's very, very similar to the sidesteps you see in Fight Night Champion. It's short, deliberate, and sets up counters very quickly. To perform the short sidestep, all you do is flick the left stick in either direction, and that's it. And to perform the long, more exaggerated sidestep, which is basically the same exact one that we have right now in EA Sports UFC, you hold the L1 modifier, flick the stick in whatever direction you want, and your fighter will take a much bigger step, a more exaggerated step. This feels really, really good, especially when you're being pressured. I was able to combine the two sometimes. Like I would flick the stick, take a short side step, hold L1, flick the stick again, take a longer side step. And when I did this, I was able to create some pretty amazing angles doing that. So that's definitely something that you guys can play around with and try to get used to when you get your hands on EA Sports UFC 2. Once again, I must say, like the 360 head movement, you cannot abuse this or get too predictable with your side steps, because if you get timed with a head kick or a shot or something as you're stepping to the left or your right, it's not like EA Sports UFC 1 where you just walk through it. No, it is stopping you dead in your tracks, and you're probably going to get some form of health event. So definitely looking forward to playing around with that some more. Next, let's talk about the blocking system. The weak block is gone completely. You will not be seeing fighters just holding blocks standing in front of you anymore. That's not gonna happen. What we are getting this time around is a high and low block. It's very similar to the blocking system in UFC Undisputed 3, but much, much better. You hold R1 and you block high. You hold R2 and you block low. If you're just standing there in front of your opponent, I guarantee this time around you will get lit up so fast your head will spin. So you absolutely have to move. The high and low blocking system is really, really good, because now players won't just depend on the weak block like we all did in EA Sports UFC 1. You got to use your footwork, your short and long steps. You got to use your head movement, and you got to try to learn your opponent's tendencies really quickly, because with that you'll be able to figure out if they prefer to go high or if they prefer to go low. Also, the defense, I'd say, is a little bit harder right now than it was in EA Sports UFC 1, but that's because now it's also much more rewarding. And now you also have more options. I don't want you guys worrying about this at all or thinking that, that it's going to be impossible to defend yourself properly, because that's not the case at all. Also, the parrying system has been reworked. Personally, I didn't get to play around with the parries as much as I would have loved to, because I was mostly focusing on the head movement and footwork, but it is definitely more difficult to get now. You can't just depend on the parries anymore like you used to in EA Sports UFC 1. If you try to just depend on the parries and not move your head or move your feet, you will definitely get lit up. You will get lit up, you will get lit up. So, yeah, the parries are still in the game. I wish it wasn't, but right now you actually have to work for them. It doesn't just come easy. Let's see, what else? Personally, I just really enjoyed the whole system, especially when it comes to defense. You don't feel helpless anymore. The game doesn't restrict you anymore. The game doesn't make you feel like you're handicapped. Like the only possible way you could win a fight is to fight fire with fire. That's not the case anymore. If you want to fight a true defensive fight, you can. And you can do it effectively because now the game rewards you for playing smart. When you slip a punch and rip a counter, you see the effects of your counter right away. I'm telling you guys, you're going to feel really good when someone is coming at you really hard and you catch them with something. It really is an amazing feeling. And if you're the fighter moving forward being reckless and you get caught with something, you will know instantly, okay, I deserve that. I was being reckless, I left myself way too open, and I got caught with a counter. It will make sense. Now, if you don't want to be a defensive fighter and you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you can definitely do that as well. You can cut people off against the cage much easier than you could previously, and this encourages the defensive player to not let you back them up all day to the cage. It doesn't matter what your style is. You can definitely use it effectively in EA Sports UFC 2, and that's what I think is really going to shine when you pick up the game. One last thing is leg kick TKOs. Right now, they are in the game. Now, when I played it, I wasn't able to get one. In fact, it really was one of the most heated debates we all had with those developers. And Brian Hayes also kind of talks about it in his interview, which I'm going to leave a link to below. But it's in the game. I'm not sure what they've done to improve it just yet, but we'll just have to wait and see when we get our hands on the game. There's been a lot of changes, guys, and there's still a few more things that I can't talk about just yet until they are officially released, so keep an eye out for that. Let's see, one more thing, almost forgot about that, the release date. EA Sports UFC 2 will be released on March the 15th, 2016. That is amazing. We sort of had an idea that it was going to be released around March, but we didn't know definitely that it was going to be in March. So that is a pleasant surprise, and I can't wait. And as soon as I get more information, I will make more videos updating you guys, and we'll go from there. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Be safe.